Welcome to the Chicago Bears Podcast, a presentation of ESPN Chicago, Chicago's home for sports. Here's your host, Pat, the designer.
Live from training camp, it's the Chicago Bears Podcast. Can we get away with that? I don't know if we can steal that. Is that copywritten by Saturday Night Live? Don't sue us. Hey, Pat the designer, Jason McKie in the building. Chicago Bears Podcast live from training camp. Now, we had a bunch of weather today. We basically had like a monsoon come through real quick, so everything was moved inside, but still a really good day of practice. We got to see a lot. We'll break down what we saw. Also, Kmet is making a lot of money.
Big money.
Want to get Jason McKie's live reaction on $50 million?
You saw my reaction upstairs.
Well, Jason, here's the thing. You've been closer to $50 million than I have. So, you know what I mean?
I was a fullback. I ain't never been close to 50.
Hey,
I'm not complaining, but I've never been
closer. Right. ER, you know what I mean? And then just overall takeaways from training camp. All that more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears Podcast. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. I want to start off here, Jason. Number 37 is a kicker. Does that hurt a little bit?
Man, you heard
me. My bad, dog.
Man. I was like, I got to talk to Bears equipment manager, Tony Medlin. I'm like, look, man, you can give it to a smaller guy, a DB.
Yeah.
You know, you can even give it to a receiver. But you give it to a kicker, you know what I mean? You got to have some oomph, some girth to wear that number. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to have a little talk with T-Med after we finish this pod. We got to have a discussion, T-Med.
We got to figure out how to pronounce his name, too. Is it Schmitz? S-Z-M-T-Y? Schmitzy?
Yeah, I thought it was S-Z-M-Y-T.
M-Y-T?
Is the Z silent? That's what I kept asking.
Yeah.
Tom Waddle up there. We were trying to figure it out. I said, Waddle, is the Z silent? Is it Schmidt? Or is it, hopefully he can make field goals. We're going to. Every position, everybody's out there battling right now. It has finally begun. Training camp has officially kicked off, Pat. So, even the guys' names that we can't pronounce on the roster right now, those are the guys looking to put their footprint, in terms of making this team. Yeah. A lot of battles will be going on. A lot of battles taking place that may not be in the limelight, that may not be in the media, but every rep matters for those young guys. I was one of those young guys at one point in my career, to where, you're being evaluated on everything. You're being evaluated on how you carry yourself in a meeting. You're being evaluated on, how you interact with your teammates. Yeah. And you're being evaluated on every single practice rep that you have. Whether you're an offense, defensive player, you better excel on special teams because that is your key to unlock your spot on this roster.
I thought we saw some really good things out of a lot of the positions, special teams included today. I mean, me and you both talked about, a young guy, Tyler Scott, who showed a really good burst off of the punt team. Also got some nice plays in there at receiver as well. Really fast guy. What right now from what you saw today, and I know let's get it out there. We're tempering expectations on everything. They're in shorts and T-shirts.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, so it's not crazy. But what was one of the biggest things that you saw today that really just stood out to you?
Well, I think, obviously, we talked about them playing in shorts, but just the speed, the energy. And it's day one in camp. You should have an energy. The speed should be there just because you're not in full pads. But you can tell that the guys were excited about being back. They were excited about getting this thing kicked off. I seen Greg Stroman Jr. make an interception. And, he took that ball, ran downfield, and the whole defense was running downfield with him celebrating. You know what I'm saying? Like,
anytime a ball hits the dirt, I love that camaraderie. Yeah. We running together. We going out there making it happen.
100%. And those are the things that, during my playing days here in Chicago, those are the things that hard upon our defense, right? Yeah. You want to play fast, but in order to play fast, you have to practice fast. Yeah. So anytime there was a turnover, anytime that ball was on the ground, our defense treated it like it was a takeaway, and and then that carried over into the game. So I was glad to see that. I was glad to see the offense, picking up where they left off in terms of mini camp. There was a lot of different formations, a lot of different personnel groupings. I saw a lot of 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end. A lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 1 running back. A lot of motions and shifts, things of that nature. And it was good to see that, Justin Fields did a good job of distributing the ball, not just to DJ Moore, who we saw a lot from today, but a lot of different guys caught passes from Justin Fields. And it was good to see that, him using all his chess pieces. And that just goes to show you that, we've been talking about this all offseason, right? Him being comfortable in year 2 in this offense, but you actually are starting to see that, we're going to see that more throughout training camp, but now we're going to see that on a day-to-day basis.
I thought it was a comfortability with everybody, right? Like even how there are new guys here. Like the Bears went out and got a lot of guys, but when you saw them right last year in training camp, I mean, they were sprinting to every set, every down. We're going to get in shape. We're going to, and it was trying to break the mold of what had been there before, right? They said that, basically previous regime is a little more, we walk into where we got to be. We'll get there when we get there. And they're not crazy, but Flus had them running. It seems like, this year when we saw them kind of get into their different sets, yes, they're still running. They're still, going after it, but it wasn't as you got to be there right now. Let's get to the next one. Let's get to the next one. Let's get to the next one. Seems like there's more of a comfortability there. You mentioned the DJ Moore and Justin Fields connection. The one thing that we can guarantee, this is not a training camp fluke. That connection is 110% real. We saw Justin Fields go to him, I want to say in the right corner of the end zone, threw a deep shot down to him, DJ Moore. I think he ended up stepping out. I think the ref called him out, but still was able to bring that ball in. That connection's there. They'll get that timing right. Underneath, we saw him hit him with a nice route. I mean, it seems like everything for the most part on the front line of this team is set in place. Your starters know what their role is.
Yeah, and it's good to see that, obviously Justin got together with the guys in the offseason. They spent time down in Florida building that chemistry, working on timing and different nuances of the passing game. And what amazed me is how good DJ Moore looked today. He can do all that, but his offseason consisted of flaming hot Doritos and Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? Like, you're a guy that can do that. You could perform at that level, eating all that junk food.
He's 26, J Mac.
Hey,
He's
man,
good,
eat it, man. I was like, wow. I was actually training. Like, in all season, I was eating celery and broccoli, and I wasn't as fast as him, but he just has.
Hey, you know what that was, though? You know what that was? He said popcorn, and all the popcorn sponsors was like, hey, we'll give you free popcorn if you just post a picture with it. Yeah. He was like, hey, let me get the flaming hot Doritos.
He tweeted right after. He said, hey, I forgot. He said, I left some of my favorites out. He retweeted after that presser yesterday and said that the flaming hot Doritos and Mountain Dew also aided in his offseason development. But the thing that I look at with DJ Moore, right, and I know we've talked about this before, right, his DNA, right? His DNA, his genetic makeup as a receiver is exactly what you want here in Chicago, right? He's a Philly guy, right? Philly is a tough-minded city, a gritty city, just like Chicago. And when you have a type of receiver that can go out there and perform at a high level, the way he has done his entire career with a carousel of quarterbacks, right? You're going to face adversity here in Chicago just because of the elements you're going to play in. Yeah. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowing. It's going to be raining. We saw how the weather changed today. We couldn't even have an open, training camp because of the weather changed at the drop of a dime. So when you have a receiver that can produce, regardless of the situation, right, or the cards that he's dealt, that's the type of receiver, gritty receiver you need here in Chicago. And the main thing that I'm looking forward to see him do is elevate the play of everybody around him in that receiver room. You talked about Tyler Scott. Cole Kmet, we just sat in on his press conference, talked about, all these guys are going to be important. He talked about Chase Claypool, right? Chase Claypool being, the key to them having success as an offense, but them being able to go as far as they want to go with Chase Claypool developing and making plays. Like, everybody on this roster is going to be called upon to make a play. And, it's up to the coaches to develop these guys, to make sure they got the guys in the right position to excel at whatever position they're playing at.
Yeah, I thought that we saw, like, Flus said a word today, and you mentioned it as well a couple of times, comfortability. Mm-hmm. It just seems like this offense is so much, because normally, right, and Bears fans, we know this, right, 110%. What do we always hear from day one? The defense is ahead of the offense. That's normal. Yeah. It didn't feel that way today. It felt like, and granted, Flus even came out and said in the beginning, right, this was more like an OTAs because 100%. We're doing some ramp up, different things with some of these guys, Eddie Jackson and guys like that, but so this was more like an OTAs also because of the weather, but there was more of a comfortability, and you could tell that it wasn't just the offense going out there trying to figure it out on the fly. Justin Fields was stepping in, making some really nice throws. I think even we talked about PJ Walker probably more than anybody's talked about PJ Walker on the sideline. Yeah.
Temple University.
He know what it was.
PJ Walker, Temple University. But he performed well.
He looked good too, and I think that's the thing, right? It wasn't just the the starting units that looked good out there. I was looking at the offensive line. I was looking at guys like Lucas Patrick, Ja'Tyre Carter, right?
Mm-hmm.
They looked like they were comfortable with what they were coming into. And I mean, speak to what that does. If you're comfortable coming in at training camp, what does that do when you're heading into now the preseason games, of course, heading into the season?
Yeah, I think the main thing with a practice like today is, right, and you can't overlook the fact that it wasn't short. So in terms of the offensive line, right, in terms of you talking about the defense, the offense, you said look the head of the defense, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're getting a watered down pass rush.
Of course.
We're getting a safe pass rush. Those D linemen, they're not coming 100 miles an hour because they don't want to hit the franchise quarterback, QB1.
We did see that a couple of times,
right,
too, where it was like, that's probably a sack.
Right. So at the same time, the main thing I think the coaches want to see, knowing that, hey, this is not going to be a physical practice just because of the limitations that we have, we want to see that your assignment, right? Coach Flus, when he came on this press conference, we just sat in it, he said the main thing that he was encouraged about offensively was he saw alignment, assignment, and guys were executing their job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what you want to see because, it's going to be hard for us to tell. Like we saw, Khalil Herbert in pass protection. And I was like, I think he missed a guy right there in pass pro.
Yeah.
That's what we need to see. And we won't get a glimpse of, how these guys are going to execute plays, how these guys are going to finish plays physically until they get in pads. And I think that's not going to happen until next Wednesday. So, I think right now the main thing is just, guys offensively, I'm speaking, having a grasp of what their job entails on the offense, making sure they're in the right position. He talked about Justin Fields as well. He said he felt like his rhythm and timing was good.
Yeah.
I felt like his ball placement was a lot better than what I saw in minicamp.
Was quick.
It was quick.
Yeah.
And it's got to be quick because, look, he's actually getting more time. We saw him getting more time than he would if it was a padded practice because those guys are coming.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys are coming.
They can't hit you, though, but you'll know it.
But
and we saw that a couple of times, right? I think there was a couple of plays where it might have been Dominique Robinson on the end where he got around Braxton Jones, and I was like, that's probably a sack. Yeah. Now Justin might have got the ball off, but the thing for me was he's probably knocking over your QB, even if it's not a sack.
100%.
I don't want to see my quarterback getting hit and land on the floor.
Yeah, 100%. And for those guys, and I talked about the young guys, taking advantage of this opportunity, right? An opportunity to each day to go out there and get better, right? An opportunity to show the coaches, how I've developed, how I've progressed throughout OTAs, throughout minicamp, throughout this offseason. And a guy like Dominic Robinson is a guy who, I know, they're expecting him to take the next step.
Yeah.
They're expecting Travis Gibson to take the next step. You know what I'm saying? And we have not signed an edge rusher. And, Post talked about it. Yes, if the opportunity becomes available, it's the right price. He's the right fit in terms of our culture, in terms of our locker room. And the money makes sense in terms of where it's not going to hurt us in the future, in terms of being competitors in the offseason and in free agency, then we'll make that happen. But he says, I'm comfortable and I'm excited to see the progress of the guys that we have in the building right now. He brought in DeMarcus Walker as well, a veteran who's, getting an opportunity here to be a leader, but who's also being called upon to get more pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Those are the things that we need to see here in training camp. Those are the things that will be answered here in training camp.
We talked about a little bit, right? Just what we saw from Justin Fields. We've talked about the comfortability and different things like that. But you said something while we were up there watching him. You were like, the one thing that I'm really looking to see, is he making that decision at the right time? And is he double guessing that decision? Is 100%. he or second guessing, I should say, that decision? Is he pump faking at all? I don't think we saw any of that. The only thing that we saw from Justin, I think there were a couple passes that he made that I would have wanted to see him complete. I think there was one to Mooney in the right corner where he just, he threw it up there a little over Mooney. Those things are going to happen in a season. But the only thing that we really saw that I think we all were like, I don't really like that, was there was a play where he basically tried to thread a needle.
Yeah.
Didn't really see it happen. There was nobody there. In a real game, that's probably a pick.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of was just waving their hands at it. And it ends up going out of bounds being nothing. But I think that outside of those couple of moments, he looked like his decision-making was right on time, right on point. He knew where he wanted to go if that wasn't there. And he did something that, I'm going to be honest with you, to see it in training camp this early does excite me. He was willing to take the underneath route. He was willing to take the guy who was just, hey, I'm wide open right here. it may be open down there, but right here is the play that we can make and complete. Boom, get that first down or whatever that is.
Yeah, 100%. And when you looked at with what they did today, was the emphasis was red zone, right? We saw 7-on-7 was in the red zone. The team peers was in the red zone. You talk about, the growth and maturity and development of a quarterback, right? You got to know situational football. So if it's first down, you don't want to force the ball to play in which, the player you're talking about, in which he, forget who the receiver was, but he tried to force it.
I think it was Claypool on the left side. He might have been at the 10 at that point.
He ran a drag route, and he kind of tried to force that ball in there. Well, if it's first down, you eat that, line up and play the next snap, because at the end of the day, we're in the red zone. We want points.
Right.
In the NFL, points are at a premium. We at least got to come away with 3, but we want to score.
And it's not like they weren't telling him, just try and make a play or stuff like that. It's not like they were telling him that, because we saw PJ Walker do it.
Yeah.
We saw PJ Walker in that same situation. Nothing's there. Boom, dirted it immediately.
Yeah. But it goes back to, right, from a quarterback standpoint is, you're setting a standard and culture. So the quarterback coach, you've got to get on him right after that series when he comes off the field and say, hey, Justin, you know what should you have done?
Yeah.
And Justin should have the answer. You know what? I should have clocked it. We live to play second down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only way. If you're not hard on these guys, if you're not coaching them, over coaching them, even though he knows he made a mistake, if you don't reinforce that through coaching, they'll never develop. He'll never get better. And if you're not doing it as a coach, you're doing him an injustice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's certain situations where we're going to see the growth. We're going to see,
and
growing
that was
pains.
one out of
yeah, I mean, look
one out of 30 great plays that he made or good plays that he made.
Yeah, I mean, he made a ton of great
ones. Yeah,
he made a ton of great plays, and like he will throughout the season in this training camp. So it's just good to see the guys out there. We talked about DJ Moore, and I want to go back to him for a second. It shows that, like I said earlier, the work that they put in, this offseason down in South Florida, that chemistry is really showing.
Yeah.
It's continuing to grow. We saw a little bit of that in the mini camp, but first day of training camp, I think we're going to see that Justin already has that trust in him where, when what hits the fan, I'm going to my guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to number 2. And the MVP of the day was the DJ playing the music, in my opinion.
Hey, the DJ was
the DJ. Hey, shout out to the DJ, because every time Justin Fields caught a pass, what we hear, Pat?
Say, go DJ.
Lil Wayne.
Every time he threw it to DJ, but I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I gotta give Justin's rhythm credit as well. That's what tells me he was in rhythm.
Yeah.
He literally let that ball go.
Right on cue.
Bow. DJ Moore catches it. Say, go DJ.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, now who did this?
He was MVP.
Who set this up?
He was MVP, man. He had me up there dancing. I'm trying to take notes and everything. I was having a flashback.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna hit a couple of jigs out there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got nervous.
Man. I miss it. I saw Briggs was on the other day, and he was talking about training camp, and he loved training camp.
Yeah.
And I'm in line with Briggs. Like the bonds that we created at training camp, it really helped give us good chemistry throughout the season. So this is a little different because it's here at Halas Hall.
Yeah.
We were down in Bourbonnais. We were in the dorms. It was like being in college. You know what I'm saying? Our dorm was like a big football house. Everybody's got their door open. Guys are playing video games. Guys are playing cards. You know what I'm saying? Like here, it's like it's a little different because
you get to go home.
You come to practice and you got to go home.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go home because one, my kids were younger at the time. I knew I had to go home, and I'm studying my playbook, but I have to, make bottles and change diapers at the same time. I needed to focus. I needed to hang out and unwind after practice with my guys. Yeah. But all of that being said, like that right there, those bonds you create, outside of the field is what will help you. It will help you during the season. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you got to know the man you're going into battle with. Who you're going into the game with. You got to know the man, and those are opportunities. I think that's being missed with training camp being here at Halas. You miss those opportunities because at the end of the day, after meetings, we're going home.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not around that person 24/7. You know what I mean? So I think, but hey, I like the format, because I definitely don't. I love Bourbonnais, but I'm happy I get to drive right up the street and watch training camp instead of driving all the way down to Bourbonnais.
It's better for real life now. It's better for real life. You ain't got to play no more. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, man.
I saw you trying to grab a helmet out there. You know what I mean? You felt a little itch.
T-May would have got me.
Hey,
big guy. Don't steal from me now. Don't steal from me. Big guy. Don't steal from me now. T-May, man.
Oh, man. Well, hey, we got – I think that training camp today was a interesting day, but it becomes much more interesting when you find out that 20 minutes before training camp starts, Cole Kmet gets a 50 million extension. I believe 36 of that is guaranteed.
Man.
Let me double check that. I mean, what do you think of, what are your thoughts on, Cole Kmet and what he is with this Bears team?
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about Cole Kmet is he went to St. Viator. So that's what I don't like about Cole Kmet. Me being a Carmel Catholic head coach, that's our rival. But I mean, in all seriousness, he's a great player.
Yeah.
He's an ascending player. And you want to reward ascending players with contracts like that. And I'm not sure where that contract ranks amongst tight ends. I think we talked
$32.8 million guaranteed. Mm-hmm. That is fourth among tight ends right now. So you paid him as a top 5 tight end. He gets $20 million next year.
Yeah.
Or this year coming up.
Yeah, he's your franchise.
He's a top 5 tight end.
Yeah, and I think with what he's called to do in this offense, right? And you look at it today, right? You look at the different personnel groupings, and we know Cole is more of a Y, which is more of an inline tight end, right? So he's blocking at the point of attack, especially with the run scheme that the Bears have here, the outside zone. He's very important in terms of either setting an edge or he's in charge of blocking that defensive end who's in a wide 9, which is outside shade of that tight end. Like, he's a vital part of the running game, but he is also a vital part of the passing game, because we know in offenses, good offenses, a tight end can be a quarterback's best friend. Right. Just look at Kansas City. You know what I mean? 100%. Kelsey and Mahomes, they got that chemistry. And am I saying that Cole Kmet can be Kelsey, or is he that type of player? I think Kmet's a better blocker. I think, Kelsey he's more developed as a route runner, but with the ascension that we've seen from Cole Kmet, he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And, the thing that I liked about it, that the comment he made in this press conference in terms of saying that I want to prove to them that I'm worthy of this deal, and I want my play to outperform this deal.
Yeah.
That's the type of mindset you want from a player who just got paid. And obviously that still remains to be seen. He's saying the right things now. But at the end of the day, I've seen in this league, a lot of guys get paid and they tend to shut it down. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I got paid. I got my money. Now I'm shutting it down. Yeah. I don't think Cole Kmet, I don't think that's in his DNA. I think he wants to continue to ascend. I think he, obviously he said the main goal for him is winning playoff games, winning Super Bowls, but also making sure that we have the ability to keep bringing the guys that can help this football team. And Coach Flus spoke strongly about how he felt about him. What did he say? He said he's a pro, he's a great teammate, and he's a great leader in times of adversity. That's the type of guy who's a Chicago Bear, and that's the type of guy that you want, being a pillar in the locker room in terms of helping lead your team or this organization.
As far as extensions go, this is Ryan Poles, not Ryan Pace. He was extending everybody. Well, Ryan Poles first. He was extending everybody.
No, stop. Let me stop. I'm talking about Pace. Ryan Poles.
Ryan, as far as Ryan Poles, I think technically there's a rule on Waddle and Sylvie that I'm supposed to get a pie in the face or something like that. Don't y'all show up with no pie? Don't you show up with no pie out here?
So who's supposed to get a pie?
Instead of pace or poles and vice versa, when you're doing it, if you mess it up, you get a pie.
So I'm good. I ain't say it. Like I told you, I'm gonna tell on you.
Hey, listen. I
told you I'm gonna tell on you. I'm a teller. I'm a girl. I'm a tattle tell. I tell.
Don't y'all pull up with no pie. Sylvie, the only one that got one, right? Sylvie's the only one that got one.
What you think? Apple,
cherry. Said it was stinking.
Whipped cream. What kind of pie? I'm gonna bring one.
The key lime is good.
That's that Florida pie right there, man. That's Florida boys. We know about key lime.
I'm not a.
I'm gonna bring one tomorrow. It's gonna be hot too. You're gonna be sticky. You're gonna be sticky, man.
Hey, dog. Y'all come around me with a pie. Y'all better show with them dollar store pies like back in the day. The 99 cent.
Bear down.
That's the thing too. You gonna wind up with it. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with but I'm gonna have the pie in this hand. I'm gonna hit you with
right. Just fake it out. Oh man, but I mean, this is Ryan Poles' first extension of the names that could have been extended. I mean, you're talking about guys like Khalil Mack. You're talking about Roquan Smith. You're talking, do you feel good about this as Ryan Poles' first extension that he's been able to make?
Yeah, I do. He's rewarding guys not just based upon their ability on the field.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's rewarding them based upon how they fit into the grand scheme of things, how they fit in the locker room, how they fit in terms of the culture. Are they guys who can, continue to be examples of what the standard is on a day in and day out basis? Those are the type of guys that you're going to reward these type of contracts. and he's just showing that, talent is one thing, but it's the makeup of the man that's one of the most important things. And, if you want to have a successful team, you've got to have both. You got to have players that are men that go out there and bust their behind every day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they got to be playmakers. So you got to have a combination of all those things if you want to be rewarded. He's just showing you that, they're looking for guys that can lead, but also play some good football.
As Drake would say, combination. I think that at the end of the day, nobody got that. Nobody seen the freestyle. Did you see? Did you like the freestyle? Yeah, oh no, yeah. Okay. I think the one thing that to me, when I look at Cole Kmet, it's not that Cole Kmet is a bad player by any means. Mm-hmm. But I do question, can he be that safety net for Justin every time? That's a twofold street, though. Justin has to want to go to his safety net. And I think that at times we saw Justin Fields want to make the bigger play, or, he's getting hit at left and right every 30 seconds. So he's got to kind of roll out and try and make a play with his legs. And that's why we saw him run so well last season. But can he be that consistent safety net? We did see him make some really nice underneath catches today. He definitely looks like he's stronger coming into this season. So I think we'll see, man. Cole Kmet, Brian Pohl's first extension. I'm very interested to see how this is going to work out in the long term, especially, right now you're paying him as basically a top 5 tight end coming in the next season. Is he going to be that? Because even with the production he had last season, it's not top 5 production.
Yeah, but you look at it like this, right? And you said that's on field. You said obviously Kmet has to perform, but it's also on Getsy, the offensive coordinator, right?
Got to put him in position.
You have to understand, right? A buddy of mine is a scout for New England, right? And I used to ask him, I said, hey, so, back, and this was, Bill's been there. This is obviously back when, they were winning these championships back when Brady was there. And I said, well, how are you guys so successful in the draft? Like a lot of the guys that you draft, you don't hear about them. They're drafting later rounds, but they come out and they end up being one of the cornerstones, of your team. And he says a lot of scouts, right? They look at guys in terms of, what they can't do. He said, we look at guys and we like to evaluate them on what they can do.
Yeah.
What can they do that fits what we're doing? So if you have a receiver, right? Yeah, he may not be able to run a go route and he may not run a 4-4, but he's a great slant route runner. And if our route concepts contains most of our receivers running slant routes, and this guy is, one of the top 3 slant route runners in the draft, we're going to take him because we're not going to ask him to do something that's not within his skill set. 100%. So saying all that to say that Getsy, he has to do things, right, that fits Cole Kmet's skill set in terms of the passing game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Cole, what routes are you comfortable with? You know what I mean? Justin, what routes are you comfortable with Cole running? You know what I'm saying? You've got to put Cole in position to be successful. Not just Cole, but everybody in this offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Justin too, the offensive line too. They got to have these tough discussions. And, I think there's an honesty that has to come about to where, Khalil, what do you, in terms of pass protection, like what do you feel comfortable with in terms of pass protection, right? It's your job to go out there and execute your job. You have to go out there and make the block. But if you feel like there's something that we can change, within this offense that makes it more conducive to us being successful, then those are the things that you have to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Getsy, right, I think it's one thing to have a scheme, but it comes to a certain point to where the players, right, the player's skill set trumps the scheme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't force somebody to do something they're not comfortable with. Same thing with Justin Fields, right? If he's not just comfortable staying in the pocket and being a pocket passer, well, you got to get him on the move.
Yeah.
Right. You got to get him in rhythm. You got to find different ways to get him going, intermediate routes, screens, things that get him going, you know what I'm saying? So he can build his confidence up. And that's up to the offensive coordinator. That's his job. His job is to put in place the right game plan, to put in place the right offense, to make all these guys successful, regardless of what their skill set is.
Yeah. And it's going to be, I think that he's going to have a slew of weapons available to him. Cole Kmet's going to have a ton of opportunity. And the one thing that Cole said that really stands out to me is that he talked about somebody, I think it might have been Courtney. Somebody asked him, how do you feel like you've gotten better throughout your career? And he said, I didn't block at all before. Like I didn't need to. Yeah. It wasn't a part of what I did. Now I would consider myself a pretty good blocker. I think just improving my game all the way around and continuing to improve my game all the way around. The one thing that we can't say about Cole Kmet that we saw last season, with how the Bears are utilizing him, he's definitely improving his game. He's definitely improving his game to the point where he's becoming more of an all-around tight end. I don't think he'll ever be a Kelsey or, a Kittle, but that doesn't mean that you can't get really, really good production. I think on the flip side of that, when you look at the offense that he's putting together, the ability that Justin Fields has, the part that people don't think about, I think because we want him to be a passer so much, he's still going to use his legs. Yeah. That means that you're turning plays that should be 3 seconds, the ball's out, into sometimes it might be 4 or 5 seconds. Now the DB's got to keep up with DJ Moore for 5 seconds.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, one thing that, going back to the tight end, we didn't mention the addition of Robert Tonyan. I think going to be huge. I mean, you look at the formation league today, we saw a lot of 12 personnel in which Kmet and Tonyan was in the game together, and a lot of movement with Tonyan. But Flus touched on in his press conference, right? He said, having 2 tight ends of their caliber, right? What does it do? Well, it creates mismatches.
Yep.
It creates one-on-ones. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things that, especially in situational football, you know what I'm saying? 3rd and short, in the red zone, on the goal line.
Right.
Being able to have those guys in and, being able to run the ball with both of those guys in there, but also being able to pass the ball and create mismatches, that's to our advantage because we didn't have that last year.
Yeah.
The whole focus in that tight end room was on Cole. So I think Cole getting a new contract is going to really benefit this year from the addition of Robert Tonyan.
Yeah.
And you talk about Fields, his skill set is so dynamic, right? And, they talk about everybody wants Fields to develop as a passer, right? The one thing that I don't want to see Fields do is limit his natural given playmaking ability, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like if he has to run, because you're dynamic when you take off with that ball. But not only are you dynamic, you're a problem solver. So the defense is bringing one more guy than we can block, right? Justin has the ability, right, to make that guy miss, take off, and extend the drive, but also not just extend the drive, to take that thing to the house. How many times do we see that last year? He has that type of ability. And that's the type of quarterback that all these teams are looking to draft. Look at the Colts, Anthony Richardson. They're looking for a dynamic quarterback. Everybody's trying to find a quarterback who's, not so much a game manager anymore. Yeah. That's out the window. Like the quarterback position in today's NFL, you have to be a game changer. You have to be a playmaker. And that's what we have here in Chicago. And, I want to see him develop as a passer, but I do not want that to hinder, his natural ability to make plays.
Yeah, we got to stop using the word dual threat quarterback. It's the dumbest thing in today's NFL.
Yeah.
They all can run. They all can run. Yeah. I don't know how to tell you that. Josh Allen runs. Yeah. I mean, like Patrick Mahomes runs. You know what I mean? Like it's not now. Is it to
Kirk
the extent
Cousins,
that
I don't want to
some
see
of
Kirk
them?
Cousins run.
Hey, listen, I've seen Kirk. Actually, Kirk is like Jay a little bit though. Like Kirk is, he didn't got older now, but you know how Jay would like every now and then he sneak out the pocket. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, you kind of fast."
Well, I'll tell you what, like watching that quarterback series, and I know there were some questions asked in yesterday's press conference to Justin about that quarterback series on Netflix. I watched it. I was hooked. I binge watched it, and when they asked Justin that question, I was like, "Please say yes, please say yes," because I would love to see, I would love to have that access, or the Bears fans to see that access in terms of what he goes through, the pressure he faces. You know what I mean? He's been under that spotlight his entire life.
Yeah,
coming out of high school.
Well, he did one in high school.
Yeah. Coming out of high school, he was #1 recruit. He won that quarterback QB11 challenge.
Yeah.
Hope I'm not butchering it. I think it's the Elite 11 challenge. He won that, and Trevor Lawrence was in that competition as well. So he's been in the spotlight his whole career. He's had pressure put on him his whole career. You know what I mean? So when he shut that down, I was kind of disturbed. But I say all that to say, you know what? Despite Kurt playing in Minnesota, and, I don't like to give no credit to the teams in NFC North. I hate mentioning their name. But, I mean, I got respect for him because I've seen firsthand what these quarterbacks go through. I've seen the hits they take.
Yeah.
I've missed a block or two and got a quarterback killed. And I'm like, oh, man, like, get up, Rex. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, they take some shots. They go through a lot. And, all NFL players
Rex.
go through a lot.
Sorry.
Hey, get up, Rex. Get up, Rex. I missed my block. Let me help you up, man. I'm sorry, Rex. But
you rocking him. You did it like a Rocky movie.
That's what happens when you don't throw the fullback in the ball on the flat and wide open. I might miss that block on that linebacker.
He was Adrian in the stands. Get up, Rex.
Look, hey, Rex didn't throw me the ball on the flat, right? Let that linebacker come through scot-free and I look back at Rex.
Oh, man.
No, let me stop there. But no, I mean, they do go through a lot. Not just quarterbacks, all NFL players.
Yeah.
Like the healthiest these guys will be.
It's right now.
It's right now. It's right now.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire season, every player that's going out there playing on Sundays is going to be playing at a percentage level of 80%, 90%, 95%, some guys 60%. You're never going to feel as good as you are as the first day.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes to be a pro, right? Not just the adversity that you face from, the media, us, all eyes on you, the pressure that's put on you in terms of you performing. Like there's pressure in terms of you have to be able to go out there and have the mental toughness, the physical toughness to go out there and perform when you got a sprained ankle. You know what I mean? You separated shoulder, broken fingers, but you're expected to go out there and make plays. That's what makes you a pro.
As a leader too. I mean, I always think about the stories that have come out now about a lot of players who didn't do those things, right? Like I think it was who was the DB from New England when Jimmy Garoppolo was there? They lead DB. I can't think of his name right now. One that he wasn't a lead. Got the pick in the Super Bowl.
Malcolm Butler.
Malcolm Butler.
Yeah,
he said it was very big when they was out there busting their butts. Yeah. And Jimmy Garoppolo didn't come to practice because something was hurt.
Yeah.
He talked about that. I tried to catch it.
Don't worry about it.
He talked about that on the podcast. It was I tried, man. I didn't have quick enough hands. I didn't have quick enough hands.
Right. It's about what you can do. You don't have hands. You don't have hands. But what can you do? You can host a great podcast.
I can host a good podcast.
You can host a good podcast. So I'm evaluating on what you can do.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Right. We got to get some basketball going. My athletic prowess has not looked good on a lot of.
Pat can't catch. He has no hands. But what he can do is, we're trying to run a podcast. So you're a perfect fit for what we're trying to do.
Hey, man, I gotta get back on the bed. We need some basketball footage out here, dog. It's not good. It's like Sylvie beat me with a double move and a read out here. He faked me out, Jay, man. He hit me with the old veteran. He's like, I can't move. I got the plantar fasciitis. The foot don't work. I'm not gonna be doing too much running. He hit me with a double move and took off. It's dirty out here, man.
Sylvie, that's my guy. He's funny, man.
But no, I just think that, right, when you look at a lot of the leaders in the locker rooms and stuff like that, that Justin Fields is the guy. Mm-hmm. The thing that I think has built him the respect is everyone in the league, including the Bears here, see him get up after taking a beating night in and night out.
Yeah. And
literally just go, next play, let's go.
Yeah. 100%.
Does his breathing exercise, goes next play, let's go, and he's right back out there. So I'm so excited. I will say this: we mentioned Trevor Lawrence. We talked about the Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence connection. NFL Top 100 starting to release some players, and Justin Fields. First off, I believe he's the first quarterback to ever make the NFL Top 100 for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, first one that since they've had the show that I've seen.
Yeah. I thought maybe Jay might have made it. I don't remember him ever making it, but I thought maybe he made it.
Yeah, I know a fullback. We never had one either. They didn't. Yeah, fullback.
You really on the fullback thing today. You really,
hey, my guy. Hey,
you really proud.
Shout out to Robert Burns. I'm gonna give you some fullback love, man. He made it. They motioned him out of the backfield. Gets it using his creativity. Robert Burns comes out of the backfield, runs a Texas route, which is an angle route.
Yep.
Some offenses call it Texas. Some just call it a plain old angle. Ran an angle route. Justin Fields put the ball on the money in the red zone. Could have been a big game.
Yeah.
So fullback love. I see you out there. Big
game in a real game. I can't wait to see it, man. I can't wait to see it. But 10 spots above Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. And those two have been linked like their entire lives.
Yeah.
Like Justin's from Kennesaw. Kennesaw, right? Justin's he's from Kennesaw. He's from Kennesaw. And Trevor, I'm not sure where he's from, but I know it's close. They're like from right.
They're like they played against each other their entire lives, basically.
And Trevor, like starting out in high school, Trevor was like rated above Justin. So even on that, I watched they had the Elite 11 when they were chronicling Justin Fields' high school career. Starting off, he was always in Trevor's shadow. You know what I mean? And they're right down the street from each other. So it's good to see that Justin's was 86 on the top 100. What was Trevor? What number was
96?
Trevor was 96, 10 spots ahead of Trevor, which is crazy because Trevor, like, I mean, hey,
he won a playoff game.
He won a playoff game. But
he won a playoff game. Like,
he won a playoff game.
Are we? This is what I'll ask, right? I believe that Justin Fields does belong on the list, but does the list still feel valid, knowing that Trevor Lawrence won? What, they win their last 7 games in a row? Got to the playoffs, complete underdogs versus the Chargers. And I mean, the Chargers.
I'll tell you why it's valid. This is why it's valid, right? And we can look at all of those things you talked about. Trevor won the playoff game. Right?
Yep.
Turn that franchise around.
Yep.
This is voted on by the players.
This is true. 100%.
By the players.
This is true. Cartersville, Georgia, by the way. Cartersville, Georgia.
That's where Trevor is. Yeah. This is voted on by the players.
Yeah.
So the players have spoken. They feel that, hey, you know what? Despite Justin not having the same success in terms of wins or losses in playoff games and things of that nature, his overall makeup as a quarterback right now is ranked 86 in the league. 10 spots above Trevor.
Is this, and this is what I wanted to ask too, are the players taking situation of what the Chicago Bears have been into
100%.
account in that? Because
100%.
I mean, when you heard him talk about, I think it was Terry McLaurin, he said, listen, he's never complained. He's taking all the shots. He keeps getting back up. He goes back out there and he's trying to make a play, and he makes a play.
100%. 100%. I mean, look what he did last year, and that's all we have to go off of last year, right?
Yeah.
So we keep going back. Look what he did last year, right?
Yeah.
How many times or how many games did he keep us in it?
Yeah.
Despite what his numbers was in the passing game.
Yep.
Despite how many yards our defense was giving up rushing.
Yep.
Right. You see him make a dynamic play. We're like, wow, like this is crazy. Like, this is a quarterback doing this. I mean, I think it was, I don't know who they were playing, but they're in the red zone and he scrambled to the right, reverse field, came back to the left and ran over a DB for a touchdown. The Giants, right? You know what I'm talking about? He ran him flat over now. Right. And I'm like, ooh, like, I hope he's not hurt. And got up and like spun the ball and beat his chest. And I was like, man, like, this is a quarterback.
Hey,
this is a quarterback.
There are those moments where you be like, oh yeah, he is 6'4", ain't he? That's a big dude.
Man,
like,
Justin came to the school last week.
Yeah.
Came to Carmel Catholic High School.
Yeah.
So I keep plugging.
Yeah, plug.
Carmel Catholic Corsairs.
When's the first game?
He came to August 25th.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm not going to name the team because I don't want to give him no credit.
Oh, dog.
I don't name other teams. But and going to your point though, Pat, like, he's a big human being.
Yeah.
Like, he came out to the school, called, he wanted to use the track. Hey, I got you, man. I want you to be great. If I can help aid in any way, you can have the field whenever you want. Call me at 3 a.m. I'll be there to open the field for you. Because he's a hardworking dude, humble kid, hardworking, like, real respectful, awesome. And when he like, this is the first time I've seen him, you know, from a distance in minicamp. I've seen him on the field from a distance, but like in person, when you're up on him, like when we're talking, the dude's huge. Like, he's a big, he said he was about 228. That was last week. So I don't know what he's at now, but he's a solid guy. He's put together. I mean, and he's explosive. Like, that track workout, I mean, what he was doing, the conditioning, and, you know, the Twitter heads out there, like, I posted him running and they're like, oh, he needs to be working on passing. The guy's conditioning. You know what I mean? He's got to run. He's got to condition his body. But,
hey, man.
You know how it is, man. Come on.
There are no better coaches in the world than Twitter coaches.
And I knew it was coming. It was like, you should be posting him throwing the ball. I'm like, guys, he's working on his conditioning. But to say all that, his suddenness is like, it's explosive. Yeah. It's like, we were talking about Tyler Scott.
Yeah.
You know, we saw him catching punts today and how that first step was now. It was instant. Like, Justin has that burst, you know what I'm saying? Like, that burst, which is not a lot of people have that.
Yeah.
To where you can get the full speed on that second step. Like, that's God given. That's like, he has a burst. He has another gear. And to be that big and to play quarterback and to have that skill set, you got an arm, you could run. Like the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? And it's up to this coaching staff to do all they can to help develop him, to help bring that greatness, you know, out of him. And as much as we talk here in Chicagoland about the pressure being on Justin Fields, the pressure's on the organization to develop this guy, right? Because when you go back and let's look at the history of quarterbacks that have played here for the Bears, right? We always put the blame on the player, right? And I'm a former Bear. I play with a lot of quarterbacks. I want this team to succeed more than anybody. But the pressure has to be on the organization, making sure that, hey, you know what? We got it right this time.
Yeah.
In terms of, we got the right quarterback. We got the right people around him to groom him into being a franchise quarterback. So all the pressure is not just on Justin as individually. It's on the organization as a whole to develop this guy into a franchise quarterback.
No, 100%. I'm so, dog, when I tell you, seeing Justin Fields from last season to this season, just like seeing him, what he did in the games, and seeing how quick his reaction is this year. There were a couple times last year where Courtney talked about it too. It felt like Justin knew he should have threw the ball. Like there was one play he's rolling left, and I think it's still turning into a touchdown. He's a freak of nature. He's a freak athlete. Yeah. But he's rolling left. He's looking right the entire time. And you could see, I want to say it was Kmet underneath. And he's like, I'm wide open. Like, you could release anytime. And Justin was like, I'm going to just run it. I got it.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like we saw any of that, like the decision making. And again, right, the pass rushers in Israel, and it's very different in today's setting. But I do like that throughout the entire OTAs, minicamp, all of that, it seems like we're saying the same things. And they're positive things for once. So we were saying the same things about Mitch the entire time, but it was like he kept overthrowing this dude. You know, Allen Robinson was open. He missed him. Yeah. We're not hearing those things. We're not seeing those things about Justin Fields. And there's that consistency that from OTAs, okay, is it real? To minicamp, is it real? Now we're in training camp. Is it real? I think it's real, guys. I think Justin Fields is going to be a good quarterback. I'm really excited about it. He talked about being a 4,000-yard passer. I think we got one here, man. I don't know if he's going to be 4,000. 4,000 might be.
But this is the thing, right? And people made, there was a lot of hoopla about Justin saying, oh, he's not going to throw for 4,000 yards. Why is he saying that? He's cocky, right?
That's regular.
At the end of the day, right? Come on. Like, at the end of the day, right? When I go in the huddle with a quarterback, right? I don't want that quarterback to get in the huddle and say, you know what, guys, I think we're going to score this drive. No. I want you to come in the huddle, take command in the huddle, and say, you know what, we're scoring this drive. Yeah. Because now you have the belief of the guys around you, right? That's going to make me want to go out there and shorten my neck even more to make that block for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I want a quarterback that's confident, right? And he's cocky because he's put in the work. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why Justin said, I'm going to throw for 4,000 yards, because the guy has put in the work. And I talked about pressure before, right? That pressure, right? Justin made that statement. So, he's got pressure on him, but now the pressure is put amongst that offensive line to protect that receiving core, to make sure they're in the right position, to make sure they're out there catching the ball, and the running backs to make sure they pick up their man in the pass protection. Yeah. He put that pressure on the offense as a whole. You know what I'm saying? So you have a quarterback that's making statements like that. He's telling you that I believe in the guys that I have around me. I believe in the system that Getsy's put in place. I believe in myself, second year in this system, to be able to go out there and exceed all expectations and do things that have never been done here before from a quarterback standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what he said. Nobody's ever done it. I mean, a 4,000-yard passer it's sad and it's funny to me. Like, we talk about that number like it's the best number you can go out there and get. And Jared Goff has done it multiple times.
Yeah, it's only like
Kirk Cousins has done it multiple
200 and some yards a game.
266 yards a game.
Yeah.
Somebody said 66.2. What's the 0.2 of a yard? Don't worry about it.
I didn't go to school for math. It's about what I can do.
It's about what you can do.
I wasn't good at math, but what I could do is play football. Not saying I went to school for football, because the Temple University, a great academic school,
same
school as my guy PJ Walker, but I didn't say I was good at math. It's about what I can do.
Plays fullback.
Evaluate me. But see, I knew you had it.
I got you.
He's on top of it too. But yeah.
No, for sure. Hey, I mean, I think that we got a good first day here. I think that we have a really, really fun 3 weeks of training camp that we're going to get to sit in ahead of us. And I'm excited about what we got coming with this team. I really am. And every day I get a little bit more excited. Let us know how you guys feel in the comments below, man. As always, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Joined by J-Mac and EO in the back.
EO.
Eric Strowski producing, always. Appreciate that. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.
Bear down.
Peace.